responsibility.
Let's go.
Welcome to Comics League Dark, true believers. Tonight we have a packed show, but we might as well bring in the group of men that will be discussing the topics with me. First off is my partner in crime.
I am Phoenix!
And what's
the
up, Nick?
Negotiator.
And we got one other individual that's always co-hosting these shows with us. And I've got, what's up, Tavia? What's up, Lawrence? So I got a new intro for another Comics Leaguer.
Oh,
so
dear.
3, 2, 1. Yeah?
I gotta say,
All right.
that intro is lit.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Nick. But so yeah, I wanted to kind of go with that because we always talk about how JJheat brings the heat, and I was like, what's better than the Human Torch? The good Human Torch. So we have a lot to talk about today because a lot of crap happened. So the first thing I want to talk about, this is out of order than I originally put these topics, but can you guys believe that a Supergirl comic actually sold out?
Well, they did just announce a Supergirl movie, so what do you expect?
No, but that's the thing, though. And by the way, Lawrence, okay, I'll play it again for you, Lawrence. Hang on, for fun. Yeah, and the thing about it is that the movie is literally based on the comic. They said, they said it's not just based, we're just turning this comic into a movie. So what's interesting is that not only this, the Authority sold out on Amazon.
Yeah.
And what this is showing me is that, okay, so you mean that when you actually tell people, if you want to understand these movies, read these books, that actually works?
What
like I've been telling you.
Crazy concept. Oh my
It's like,
God.
Nick, you said this the past couple of streams that Marvel screwed up the biggest marketing opportunity. That's why, again, this puts more like faith from me in terms of James Gunn because he's doing what I've told him to do this entire time. Hey, what's up, David?
I think at this point, like, we should just give him a chance. That's my thinking.
No, I'm still giving him a chance, but the very fact that he's doing all these great things, I'm more inclined to like, okay, you know what? I like his management style. And by the way, sold out. And also, Superman All-Star sold out. Well, that book is naturally delightful.
At least now there's a plan. Like, at least now they have
a
roadmap. And, this is what they should have done in, 2014, 2015. You know,
well, they did have a plan, but they did have a plan, but Warner Brothers sabotaged it. And actually, I think it's time to roll this clip.
No, wait, before you do that. Translation. Snyder had a plan.
Yeah, exactly. Because
and now you can roll it.
Yeah, let me find it. I have so many clips on here.
He has the entirety of
Here we go.
Snyder's
I got
stuff.
it.
Yeah, second Warner Brothers.
Go.
Exactly. Thank you.
Interesting. Feige never advertised Marvel comics like this. That's why I'm telling you. And you know what's kind of funny? He was blasting Marvel and DC and Warner Brothers leadership recently, which made me feel like to the point where he's actually angered a few people at Warner Brothers. But I'm like, suck it. It's true. Is it not true?
Well, to be fair, it's pretty open season to criticize the Walter Hamada regime. I feel like Zaslaw's pretty much just yeah, you want to talk shit about Walter Hamada, feel free.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, you know what? It's not my fault they led it's not my fault they screwed up using the most recognizable characters on the planet. They sabotaged someone that had a plan that most people were on board of, and I can say that because of the way the Snyder Cut was brought in. Yeah, actually, you know what's kind of funny? The Rock was kind of right. The hierarchy did change.
But I will say
not the way
that
he wanted
Emmerich
it
deserves
to.
some of the blame here. We can fault Hamada and bad business decisions all we want, but if you really connect everything on an executive level, Emmerich pressed the panic button faster than anybody.
And remember, they were going to restore the Snyderverse. It was the plan when the movie came out and it was super popular, but Emmerich took over the studio, the Warner Max studio, and shut it down before they could do that.
Can we be honest?
I'm like,
The Snyderverse never really went away. Like the Snyder continuity, it never really went away. We're still under the Snyder continuity. It's just like the Snyderverse per se is really what we're talking about. But like the continuity that Snyder started never went away.
And guess what? It's not going anywhere. It's because the DC has the multiverse, so it's not going anywhere. It's still going to be here. We're still going to be haunting them about this. Which
I still say, 10 years down the line when they do Crisis on Infinite Earths, they're going to bring Henry back.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But at least that. So now the next thing I want to talk about. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, the Snyderverse is just changing. That's true. We're going through changes. It's like it's going through puberty.
Henry Cavill on stage with they have Dean Cain, they have what's the one for Brandon Ralph, Tyler Hoechlin, and then whoever they get to play him in this new version. Imagine they have all those Superman on screen at once, like No Way Home style.
That'd be great.
It could work.
Well, actually, here's the thing, though. What would they fight? Because you got like 5 Supermen.
Magog from the Kingdom.
Okay, I can see that.
This is Anti-Monitor.
Oh, actually, that works. Oh, yeah, because it's Crisis. But
also remember, Brandon Ralph is the Christopher Reeve Superman, so you got that in there as well.
Yeah, that's true. So, really, what's important to really think about, what's interesting is that so because Supergirl is a relatively obscure character, the show helped a little bit, but it didn't
relatively. I feel
relatively.
Like Supergirl's kind of like Nightwing, where you kind of exist on the periphery of the mainstream, like.
But the point is
mainstream, but not really deep cut.
But what's interesting is that this book got almost zero marketing, and as soon as they announced, okay, it's basically this is the movie, sold out. Authority, sold out. I'm like, whoa.
It's almost like people saw the announcement and they're like, huh, what are these characters? I want to learn about them. Where can I buy the book?
Yeah, David Hernandez says, I have really one prediction. Superman Legacy has young Superman, then they age him up when The Brave and the Bold comes out, and maybe they'll turn to Cavill. Maybe that's such a wild theory. That's kind of my theory, but I'm waiting to see more of an indication of that.
If the slate is anything, if the slate is anything to go by, Legacy and the Supergirl movie is about a 2-year gap with Batman, Brave and the Bold in between. So I don't think
it's pretty clear they're doing a soft reboot. They're using Flashpoint to do like a, things change. We changed. It's New 52 soft reboot.
And yes, it is for the New 52 is a hard reboot, but okay. I think it's strange how so many big content creators are lambasting this excellent slate. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Sean? Nice thing. Question: how come we are introducing young Superman and Batman having his son first? I don't know. That's just what
relatively young Superman.
Well, and here's the thing.
I never even said anything about Superman having a son. We're like 5 to 10 years away from that even being a thing.
Even if we did be like in chapter 3. Even if we did factor Super Sons, it would be a DeCamu situation where it's Damian and Connor.
Yeah, but here's the other thing here.
Like the only way to get a Superman, because like you got to realize, like okay, they can maybe get Wonder Woman pregnant in like the second or third movie. That, by the way,
thank you,
Jared.
Thank you.
That was a gift to you.
In fact, hang on. Okay. There you go.
What? No Front of Atlantis clips?
Even if
I'm saving that for tomorrow, for Sunday. And by the way, just real quick, the reason why they're going on for this, Tevye, is because here's the thing: the most famous and most modern and relevant Robin is at this point Damian Wayne. The most famous depiction of Batman and Robin right now, the one that people recognize now, it's not Dick Grayson, it's Batman and Damian. That's where they're going with that one first.
Dick Grayson is best known as Nightwing.
Yeah, at
Jason
this point,
Todd is Red Hood.
Yeah, at this point, a lot of people forget that like Jason and Dick were Robins at this point.
Well, I mean, I think people know that like Nightwing was the original Robin. Like they acknowledge that as part of his backstory. He's not really known as Robin. He's known as like the former Robin. Like that's what he's more, kind of known as.
And Sean, I've read the Transformers tie-ins for the movies. They're actually pretty decent, and they have to age him up. It doesn't make sense to have Supes and Batman so different in ages. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. We'll see what happens. It's gonna be like Flashpoint, how they did with the Flash series, but there's removing certain things. Yeah, that's true.
Well, we're getting a new Batman. They're probably gonna do a younger Batman.
Don't be so sure about that, because to do Damian, because Damian's gonna be like 10 years old. It's going to require
League of Assassins training, hooks up with Talia, Damian Raisin's secret over the course of 10 years. It's not that hard to do.
No, I know it's not that hard to do.
What I'm saying is we're relatively younger, because like Ben Affleck's Batman is 45, 50, roughly around that age. This Batman is going to be 32, 35,
max.
like old enough, because
well, actually, save this for my next topic, because the next topic is theories on Chapter 1. I just want to get through these real quick. I hope Lanterns will deliver and being. I hope Lanterns will deliver and be an integral part of DCU. Me too. For real, I'm hyped for Lanterns. We all are, because we're starved for Green Lantern. Then, except Connor really went nowhere, and DeCamu was killed off. Well, that's because they literally killed everyone off in the DeCamu. So.
Again, we can talk about Connor in the theory portion.
Yeah, exactly. New 52 is about a 70% hard reboot. Yes. Actually, I would argue more 80%, because they really only kept Batman and Lantern, but that's about it. Also, Tim Drake, Robin. Yeah, but people... here's the problem with...
Jared, let me handle this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tim is better at this point as Red Robin. The New 52 did this best, where Tim was Red Robin in memoriam to Jason, and Tim would be a good support to Batman and branch off into his own thing. Now, you're talking about the comics and marketability? Yeah, Tim did get snubbed by Damian to a degree. No one's refuting that. What's up, Taladia? No one's refuting that.
You have a link? Come on in.
But I feel like, especially with the success of DeCamu, Damian has more momentum and more intrigue, whereas Tim is kind of a relic of the 90s. I'm just going to say it.
Plus the fact, here's the thing.
I've said this speech a couple times. Tim really doesn't have anything that makes him stand out in any unique manner. Like, sure, he's a really good Robin, but like, look at all the other Robins. Dick Grayson is the first Robin. He is the golden child. He became Nightwing. Jason is a failed Robin. He became Red Hood.
Arguably Black Sheep.
Plus,
Damian is... I'm trying to... Let me finish my stuff.
Yeah.
Damian is the biological son of Batman, raised by Ra's al Ghul. He is the son of the demon. All of them have like these unique things about them that make them stand out, especially from a narrative point of view. Tim, outside of being just a really good Robin and a damn good detective, doesn't really have anything that makes him unique.
Plus the fact, here's the thing, they tried to make him more irrelevant with the whole coming out as bi thing, but it just ended up putting him more in obscurity. Thanks, Fitzmartin. And we need Grayson as Nightwing. Yeah, I'm sure that when they show that when he shows up in Brave and the Bold, he'll be Nightwing and not Robin. Saffron stated other members of the Bat family will appear in the movie, which I'm so pumped for.
We'll talk about that in the theory portion.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going through these. Look at these cool people. Yeah, what's up? Batman is going to be like 30. I don't know.
30, 35.
Here's the problem with that, though. If he's 30. Well, let me see. I think
35. We'll talk about the theory portion.
Yeah.
Because remember, Bruce Lee does leave for his training around 18 to 24 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And most
here's the thing. Let's assume, let's just kind of get this out of the way right now. Let's assume Damian is 12 years old when we first see him, okay?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Timeline is Bruce leaves for training at 18. He conceives Damian at 20 years old, okay? And let's say it's, and this does leave some fudge factor. So you have a 32-year-old Bruce Wayne. Damian is 12 years old, and this still leaves timeline for Jason and Dick Grayson to keep doing their things. You know what I'm saying? This 12-year timeline does allow both Jason and Nightwing like healthy time to be their Robins.
Yeah.
So So like,
Jason would have gotten the shortest tenure because he would go on to be killed in Death in the Family.
Which is fair because he's Jason, but still.
Yeah.
And depending on whether or not he's branded as Red Robin, Tim would have gotten at least a year in.
Yeah.
All right.
Like
and
you could even sorry.
All right. I'm only gonna okay, so I have this one question for you, Tavia. Okay, so if Superman is showing up at Metropolis in Rebirth and it's about him meeting a lot of his cast, how is he gonna have a 10-year-old son with Lois in a movie that takes place like roughly a couple of years after that? He's not gonna be with Lois when he first arrives at Metropolis. I hope you realize that. So we're not gonna see it.
This is why
I will play devil's advocate that Legacy is not going to be an origin movie.
No, it's not going to be an origin.
Oh, they've already said it's not.
But Gunn was very clear that it's going to be him like arriving at Metropolis and like learning how to be a journalist and how to be Superman.
I
this
think
doesn't
at the very most, this might be a year 5 Superman. Like he's kind of he's somewhat established, but like he's still pretty green. Like he's been there for like they still haven't fully trusted him yet, but he's been there for like a minute,
And remember, here's the thing, and we'll talk about this when we get to chapter 2. But chapter 2 is going to be like, so essentially what they said today is that chapter 1 and 2 tell one story, and then it's going to like continue on, obviously. But chapter 1 and 2 are the 8 to 10 year plan. So really, this is not going to happen because they would have to be pregnant with John as soon as Lois would have to already be pregnant with John when she meets Superman for that to work out. It's not going to work out like that.
Just have them hook up at the tail end of the movie. It could be done. It'd be forced.
And like even best case scenario, let's say the opening scene is literally the birth of John. He's still a baby. You still got to wait.
Yeah.
10 to 12 years of in-universe time, like. I'm gonna throw Tevye a bone here. The only scenario is like the opening scene is like a flashback scene where John is born. Flash forward 12 years later, John is a kid. And then you start the movie. That's the only way you can make it work. And I don't see them doing that.
But the thing is that it depends on how long the Superman legacy is between the first Superman movie and presumably the Superman movie in chapter 2. Because if it's like 12 years, okay, fine. But if it's just like a year or so, or like 5 years, no, it's not going to happen with the 10-year-old. I got news for you.
This is why we're more likely to get Connor. Because Connor just comes like
he just shows up.
He shows up and he's already fully formed and ready to be a character. With John, there is a, for lack of a better term, incubation period that is a long time to cover. Because like I think the MCU, even like that takes place over 10 years.
5
roughly.
years, I think.
5,
maybe 10 years.
A little over 5.
So it's not just because it's 10 years our time does not mean it's gonna be 10 years canon time. In other words,
hyper time.
They're gonna. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna make the new. Yes, exactly. I don't think they're gonna condense it all in 5 years. I think what they'll do is have. I think Batman is gonna be older than Superman. It's the only way to make all these Robins work.
I think they're probably gonna do a 10 to 15 year timeline. I think because if they want to introduce Damian, I think a 12 to 15 year timeline gives you enough time to do all the important events, have Nightwing, have Jason, and that gives a healthy amount of time for these characters. You're not really even rushing it at that point, like 12 to 15 year timeline gives more time to breathe.
Also, I have to say here's the problem, Tavia, and Lawrence actually addresses this pretty well. Here's the thing about it is that if they're going to do a Super Sons movie, they might as well just do a Teen Titans movie instead, because the Teen Titans are more well known to the general audience than the Super Sons. Even that animated movie.
They got some momentum.
Also, they're not going to do a Young Justice movie because the Young Justice name actually does kind of create some brand confusion. Teen Titans is, well, for one, it's the more well-known name. And 2, Teen Titans and Young Justice, they kind of do the same thing. Yeah. And Teen Titans is a better brand.
The only scenario I can see a Young Justice movie is if they go the whole Earth 16 covert spy team route.
Yeah.
It's just the problem is there's nothing you can do with Young Justice that you can't do better with Teen Titans.
Yeah, exactly. But and plus, here's the thing: most people, when you think of young superheroes for DC, you're gonna think of Teen Titans, not even Young Justice, or like even Titans.
Also, Titans. Teen Titans has their own lore. They have their own villains. They have their own everything. You know, they have their own storylines you can adapt. Plus, like any young character, you can just throw them on the Titans. Like have Static on the Titans. Have any character, you can just throw them on the Titans.
My point is, Tevye, is that just because we like the Super Sons does not, because here's the thing, when you already have, because here's the thing, when DC goes for their movies, they're only going to, there'll be a few projects obviously that are like more obscure, but here's the thing, I got news for you. As it turns out, the Super Sons was not as big of a seller because, and here's how I know that. If you look at the data, but what I mean is that when you have so a property that's sold but a property that's sold monumentally and almost defined DC for a lot of people, which was Teen Titans, which one are you going to pick?
I could see, I guess I'm the devil's advocate in the stream. I could see in like a phase 2, like they do a World's Finest, like they do an inverse of Batman v Superman. Instead of them fighting, they actually team up, so it's like a World's Finest movie. And then you include like the Super Sons in that one, you know.
And here's the other thing, though. Here's the other problem with John. Yeah, John Kent has a lot of character damage from the comics too. So blame John Kent. I mean, blame Tom Taylor. Blame Bendis. So they're not even going to. I don't think they're going to touch anything that could be remotely. They cannot afford to do anything that has been controversial for Chapter 1 and 2. They cannot.
Connor is a more recognizable character anyway.
Yeah. And it's when the movie came out, and then let's not derail us all. Yeah, with the Super Sons discussion, which 5? Yeah, it's exactly a 5 year. That's why I don't think they're gonna bring in like the Batman thing, but we might as well. Okay, now, all right. Now we can talk about.
Let's make an agreement. We're really getting derailed by Super Sons. Can we just kind of like put a moratorium on Super Sons talk for the rest of the stream?
Yeah, that's a good idea. So now Chapter 1. So now we're going to talk about our theories on Chapter 1 because James Gunn actually said that what he announced is not all of Chapter 1. So here's the interesting thing. So what other movies do you guys think could be part of it, or which ones could fit?
Let's kind of set some ground rules. Fresh slate. Character like actors moving over is possible, but they won't have their backstory from the previous continuity. Like for example, let's say like they do a new Wonder Woman movie, it won't necessarily have the same. But it won't necessarily have the same backstory.
So fine.
Actors carrying over is fine, but no continuity. We can't bring that. I just want to establish some ground rules. You know? Yeah,
and by the way, Tevye, this is a good question. I think they'll use the Authority more to be like that side that like, okay, so yeah, let's kill these people. And Superman's like, wait a second. Essentially read what's so old-fashioned about Truth, Justice, and the American Way. By the way, it is very interesting that when Gunn talked about Superman, he said Truth, Justice, and the American Way. And I'm like, are they reversing that too?
Superman versus the Elite, basically. But that's
basically that. Yeah. Oh wait.
They've kind of been thawing that out because like and remember in the animated movie they actually had him say it.
Mm-hmm. And by the way,
I think there has been a motion to move back to that for some time.
Another property. I'm sorry. Go ahead, JJheat.
I'm just gonna say John Kent's gonna get shelved for at least 2 to 3 years.
Yeah,
we're gonna get Connor first. That's my prediction.
Yeah, and plus Connor's the more popular Superboy. Let's be honest. But anyway, back to the slate. I think we're gonna get at least 1 point Chapter 1 a Wonder Woman movie. You can't push her off until Chapter 2. You just can't.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a contemporary Wonder Woman movie.
Oh yeah.
What storyline would they adapt though?
Honestly, okay. So here's the problem with Wonder Woman. She doesn't have that many recognizable runs. They could now. Do you want to involve the Greek gods or not? I vote no because the past few movies have done that.
Let's see.
Wait, JJheat. Watch Wonder Woman, Amazon's Attack.
That's it. I'm done.
That just sounds like a 50s serial, so no.
No, but dude, it's such a bad Wonder Woman series. It's really bad.
Also,
honestly,
I'm calling it now. Constantine 2 is going to be an Elseworlds movie.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure about that. Yeah. I think what they could do, what would be interesting, Nick, going off of your idea, is once again, I've kind of proposed this before, going off of like, let's make it so Wonder Woman's maybe the only one who has some memory of the previous timeline, because you could adapt the Rebirth arc where her new 52 and pre-new 52 memories were conflicting, and you can have her go through sort of an identity crisis.
As long as you basically invoke her 70s run where like he's powerless and like she opens, like.
Oh, we seem to have lost connection to Nick. So
I'm not saying that be the whole movie, but just have that be part of it, because you talked about identity crisis.
The problem with that is that it's the same problem that they ran into at that time period. You're depowering the female like empowerment of power.
It's a temporary thing. Like, what if they actually find her where she has like a martial arts studio and you see her in that outfit and she doesn't realize that she's Wonder Woman. Like, she has the powers, but she never realized she does.
Okay, that I could see. It's like she doesn't, but okay, so she doesn't know she's essentially. So the universe reboots. We first see Gal Gadot.
She's a hairstylist. She has a hair salon. Like,
that's a little stereotypical, Nick, but I could go with that.
But no, it's supposed to be something she breaks out from. That's the thing.
Or here's a good idea: they could have. Remember that time period in Wonder Woman? Okay, Tevye, that's a good idea. I'm sort of going beyond the Greek gods stuff, because that's been George like
Perez arc.
But I have a.
There's a lot of material in the Perez run you can use.
They could do the Perez run, or they could do the Gail Simone run, where she was also an agent for the DEO, or the DEO.
You might as well just have Marvel DC's version of Shield if you're going to do that.
Argus is their shield. Mm-hmm. Argus is basically their shield.
Mm-hmm. I think Teen Titans is happening, and maybe Justice League Dark either could close out the chapter. That'll be interesting.
Both require setup. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Both require you have to have characters show up in other movies. I think we're probably not going to see that till part 2.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping for a Nightwing movie and a real Birds of Prey movie. Oracle, Green Arrow would be really cool too. Yes, in this universe, I want Barbara to be Oracle and not Batgirl. Please, for the love of God.
Okay.
She's so much better as Oracle.
All right, try this.
If that's the case, Cassie has to be Batgirl.
Okay, I can go with that. And by the way, MP says
I need my ninja Batgirl.
No to identity crisis. It breaks the characters. I agree. I mean, I like that the next idea. And by the way, Infinite Crisis could be a very interesting. See, here's the thing though. It's extreme setup, and Jason Todd's alive. So I think that the Authority is going to be a foil for Superman and Batman. They actually have a good amount of sketchy characters to be perceived as monsters: Swamp Thing, Authority, Creature Commando. So yeah, that's actually a really good, interesting idea. I'm betting Manchester Black will lead the Authority instead of Jenny Sparks, probably because that's the way he was in the comics. And I would also, there you go. And if Damian is Robin, Barbara should be Oracle. Yes, Gunn has expressed interest in cast Batgirl too. So please.
I got a casting for the Lantern movie that I think you're gonna like.
What?
Jenna Ortega as Limelight.
Okay, first off, her name's not Limelight, but okay.
But as Jessica Cruz.
Yeah, okay. Wednesday.
Actually. Come on.
I could see
a few years. She could pull it off.
I could see more Elsa Gonzalez as Cruz.
Maybe Teen Lantern from the Bendis comic.
No. Is such a good actress.
And by the way, JJheat, we are not adapting anything that has go to Bendis. And by the way, just real quick, I want to use this clip. I'm aware it's like maybe a little bit forced, but remember, people, it's okay to be passionate about these characters. But please remember, according to Ben Affleck,
okay, they're talking about fictional characters. Fictional characters.
I can't believe Batman said that.
I saw that and I needed that. I was like, I need that clip. So Gunn is playing around too much on Twitter. We're moving beyond that. Jenna Ortega Batgirl. That'd be interesting.
No.
I think Jason.
Like, which version?
Okay, so here's the thing, though. MP makes a good point. I think Jason will be dead in Brave and the Bold. Okay, it could be they screw with the order of Robins, and then because Damien actually being the Robin in an Under the Red Hood movie could be actually very interesting.
But even if we did stand in Damien for Tim, it's not really going to amount to much because Jason's just going to beat the crap out of him anyway.
True.
But speaking of that, I wouldn't mind a Red Robin movie where Tim kind of goes out on his own trying to investigate Talia and the League after Talia drops Damien off. Like, okay, something's fishy here. I know you're trying, and I
don't know, because like you're quoting that storyline from after Battle for the Cowl, and the whole reason he goes to Europe is because he's convinced Batman isn't dead. That's the inciting incident, and without that storyline doesn't really work.
But Talia is planning something while using Damien as a distraction.
No, because the whole point of that storyline is at one point, Ra's al Ghul is actually helping Tim, and at one point he refers to Tim as detective, which is a huge mark of respect by Ra's al Ghul. You're kind of bastardizing that storyline. You're twisting it in a way where it becomes unrecognizable.
Like there is one theory I'm not sure if we're considering, because there is a theory going around, it's making the rounds, since that James Gunn has been sharing a lot of art of Dick Grayson as Batman, that maybe in this universe, Dick Grayson is Batman, like maybe Bruce died, or like we sort of set this after Final Crisis somehow, or
after Battle for the Cowl.
Or after Battle for the Cowl, because if you want to separate it from Matt Reeves, how about not even make it Bruce Wayne?
And then you can do Red Robin.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, it would be radical, but...
And you could have a really young Batman.
Yeah. But do you think the studio is going to gun for that? Because you're distinct.
Nice. First off, excellent pun. But second off...
Also, I guarantee you, if that happens, the bat suit is gonna be really tight around the ass.
Yeah, of course. Jason never interacts with any Batman figures besides Bruce and Under the Red Hood. An adaptation can fix this and have Dick, Babs, etc. there to take on Red Hood. That'd be interesting.
Remember, there was a tie-in issue where Jason broke into Titan's Tower and beat the crap out of Tim.
Mm-hmm. Gunn has already confirmed that Batman is Bruce. Okay, well, it would be interesting if Grayson was Batman, but But okay, but I think, and by the way, here's an interesting thing. So also today we had Gunn shared a picture or like someone else's post of Justice League New Frontier. Like maybe that's the last. Maybe the Justice League movie is essentially that movie, except more modernized, obviously.
I see. The thing is, New Frontier is so steeped in like 50s, 60s iconography.
Silver Age.
Silver Age, yeah, basically, essentially, yes. I don't really see it working outside of that context because, like, it's so wrapped up in that time period. I just don't see it working in a modern context.
Maybe good as an Elseworld story.
Well, remember, Gunn said that a lot of these books that we base our movies off of, we're not doing them one-to-one. We're just saying like the feel, the tone, and all that stuff is based off of.
But like I said, the feel and the tone of New Frontier is intrinsically linked to 50s, 60s iconography, 50s and 60s. And
by the way, Dave has a really fantastic comment. in the original leaks for the Flash, Affleck's Batman was lost in the multiverse. They could that could set up Grayson as Batman and a Crisis on Infinite Earths movie.
So you're saying we could have gotten Ben Affleck as Pirate Batman?
Yes. There's a theory that wait, Nick. So there's a theory. If you look at the history lesson scene at the very end of it, where they show the tribes of men just burying the mother box in a hole, one of the people on the horse looks like Ben Affleck. So people are like, did Final Crisis actually happen? that would also be a good idea. And by the way, Tevya, how about just not use anything, any material off of Brian Michael Bendis? He's already taken a bit. By the way, Gunn has already taken a big risk with comic book fans by admitting that Tom King is on the writing committee.
Like, imagine they insert like some of the characters and some of the flashback scenes, like you said, like the burying of the mother box. Imagine they Ben Affleck into that scene.
That'd be great. And by Lawrence said they changed the ending of the movie to reset the universe. Well, it was still going to do that in the original ending for the Flash before like all
I mean,
this
they
Warner Bros.
adapted
Discovery stuff.
Flashpoint. They from the get-go, this was
It was still going to do it, but the plan was okay. So they were going to have essentially Barry goes to another universe, and that's where the new continuity takes place. And the Snyderverse continuity is like lost in time until they do a Crisis on Infinite Earths movie. That was the whole idea. Which that'd be interesting. Yeah, it's crazy.
They're gonna take such pleasure in eliminating the Snyderverse. They're gonna take some. Like,
I don't know though, because if he wanted to eliminate the Snyderverse, he would say he would say all the actors are gone. All of them.
No. The thing about Crisis is that universe is getting like burned away. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's gonna be one of the universes that are like blinked out of existence.
That's true. Or here would be a really cool. This would never happen. I repeat, this would never happen, but it's just a cool idea. I'm reading Marvel Secret Wars. What if the Snyderverse and this continuity go to war? It would never happen, but that would be actually really cool. Again, it won't happen. But
a Crisis on Two Earths situation.
Yeah, it would be a really crazy story. What's up, Nick?
Write the fan fiction.
Yes, wouldn't that be so dope though? Henry Cavill versus whoever the hell this Superman is, and he like gets his ass kicked.
Jared, I better see this on fanfiction.net in 6 months with your name on it.
Could be. Yeah, it's crazy. Actually, watch Tom King will write the Batman movie. That'll be interesting. Yeah, but the story of New Frontier could work. Basically, DC versus a Lovecraftian entity. Yeah, and that could be the mystery that the Green Lanterns are enlisting. Because remember, Lanterns hints at and then sets up the main big bad for this plan.
I just want them to like reenact the first Justice League cover of them fighting Starro. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah, it is, because I don't think they'll go with any villains they've used already. That's the thing, though.
They kind of wasted. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, it's okay.
They kind of wasted Starro on the Suicide Squad 2018.
Yeah, that was a waste. It was 2020, by the way.
Oh, sorry. The Imperium would work, though.
Oh, and they could essentially recreate the first 3 arcs of Justice League Unlimited. And by the way, those aliens were not called the Imperium. There's no name for them. And by the way, Snyderverse can be the Justice Lords, the crime syndicates. I don't want Henry Cavill playing. I don't want them to play evil. And by the way,
I mean they could do the Thanagarian invasion of Earth.
They could.
I'm sure, well,
Starcross.
also that means Wonder Bat shippers will have more ammo.
Not to mention GL and
so it's one. Yeah, whatever.
No, I said Thanagarian because you remember what happens at one moment where
I know.
They have to kiss. Like
don't be.
Yeah, I know, Nick.
Smug and suave he is in that scene. I love that.
Yeah, because he's Batman. For Batman,
Exactly.
Gunn is drawing from Morrison, not King. King seems to be only just there for Supergirl. Which and to be fair, King has written some pretty great stuff. Like if you read his Superman Up in the Sky book, that was pretty dope. And he's written some really good stuff. So I'm not like an overall King hater. I'm just saying I don't want him to anywhere near Wally West. Absolutely not.
You want to know one scene I really want them to do in a Superman movie? You know that one page where Superman saves a girl from suicide?
Yes, I want that. Please.
Can they please, for the love of God, put that in Superman Legacy? Just put that scene in there.
I don't know why that wasn't in the movie for All-Star. I'm like, what? That's like the most iconic panel from the entire book. Yeah, but I'm like, that's one of the most iconic panels from that book, and you leave that out? Like, I agree with you, Nick. Wholeheartedly, I want that recreated in the book. Somehow homaged.
I mean, it's just going to be a scene. I think it would probably be like a first or like early second act kind of scene where like he's still establishing himself. But just imagine. Yeah. Also, they totally like slaughter that scene in The Boys. Like they did a similar thing where like like you knew they were. You
thought that too, Nick? You thought that too? I was like, oh, this is All-Star Superman except The Boys. And by the way, I don't think because remember, Wonder Woman this is still part of Chapter 1. I guarantee you, she's going to be in Chapter 1 to some degree beyond like the Amazons thing.
Probably at the very end.
Also, which Wonder Girl do you think we'll see?
Donna Troy.
Donna Troy. It's got to be Donna Troy.
Do you think it's gonna be the
Cassie?
Yara?
Here's my theory. What if, like, remember how I talked about how Amazons have like a Rumspringa kind of thing, where like they go out into the world, father a kid, and then like they can come back or they can't. What if Donna is actually the daughter of an Amazon who chose to stay in man's world, but like got killed? Because remember, Donna Troy was originally rescued in a fire, and her mom got killed, and then she got taken to Themyscira. What if it was found out that the mother who died was an Amazon, and Wonder Woman recognized that, so she realized her only family left is the Amazons, so that's why Donna was taken to Themyscira.
Or if they're legit adapting the new 52, she's the daughter of Superman and Wonder Woman. And by the way, I don't want the Lois to be that one, because that Lois Lane sucked. That was my one complaint with that movie. That Lois was horrible. Even more than Lois normally is.
I say more stuck up than anything, because Lois's contributions were contrived.
Yeah, exactly.
What if? Okay, here's the thing. What if in this Wonder Woman movie? What if basically it's a fully like a 14-year-old Donna Troy, and basically it's like she's been in Themyscira the whole time. You do flashbacks. Basically, this movie is like he has to train Wonder Girl.
That'd be interesting. I could see that. That'd be interesting. There are some strange changes to dialogue in the All-Star Superman movie 2. Should have been a two-parter, just deserving as Long Halloween and Dark Knight Returns. I agree with you on that one. Absolutely, it should have been a two-parter. But all right, so
also,
now
remember, I think Jared's gonna agree with me what I'm about to say. One of the few good things about All-Star Batman and Robin is that Super Wonder is canon in it.
Well, it's canon in the Millerverse, so it's just all of Frank Miller.
It's still connected.
Yeah, I know, but here's the
you got to live with that, Jared.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but it was
he's a Super Wonder supporter, so it's like
I know, which is one of the many reasons why I love Frank Miller. But the thing about it in that book particularly, it was so random out of nowhere. Like they're fighting, she's like, "You make me sick," and then they're making out, and I'm like, "Okay, I appreciate that, Frank. Really, I do. Thank you." But where did this come from?
Yeah, the kiss was kind of random, honestly, especially from like that version of Wonder Woman where it's like she would not be out of place at a modern feminist rally. But that's neither here nor there.
But I do love that in like the Master Race when she first sees Superman and she's like covered in blood. She's holding John and they're making out. She goes, "It's good to see you," and I'm like, okay, this I like because she's more of the warrior, and I like Wonder Woman when she's more of the warrior.
Wait, don't they have two kids in that universe?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. That was Laura, but she had just had John. Let's and not rabbit trail into the Lois versus Wonder Woman debate. Yeah, exactly. We'll be here for hours on that one. I did a whole video in which I got lambasted in the comments for saying that Lois Lane was irrelevant. So
I mean, we all know Wonder Bat is a superior ship anyway.
Okay, so we've lost connection to Nick. So JJheat, so what I want to do,
I knew that was going to happen.
Here's the thing. My next topic. What is Chapter 2? Now, here's the thing. If I'm James Gunn, here's
Under the Red Hood.
Hang on. If I'm James Gunn, here's how I start off Chapter 2. Trinity. Do a Trinity movie.
Okay.
Wait, before we do that,
assuming that Wonder Woman has already gotten her movie in Chapter 1.
Okay, actually, I want to kind of rewind a little bit. What's going to be the end cap movie? Obviously, it's going to be Justice League. Who are they fighting?
I don't want Darkseid. As much as I love Darkseid Wars, Mongol would work. Mongol is 100% a Justice League level
Vandal
threat.
Savage.
That could work too, honestly.
Because I feel like there's going to be like some time.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the problem. Here's the thing, though. Because remember, Chapter 1 and 2 are telling this one story, and Lanterns picks up on the main threat. So what would be a main, besides Blackest Night or Sinestro, that would start off?
Parallax?
Mongrel?
Oh, and by the way, if he does this, he officially becomes my favorite archetype of DC. Thanks to Ladia for doing that. You've given me even more reason to give him a shot. So it has to be Darkseid.
Small? What if Sinestro Sinestro is the Loki of the
But
Justice
here's the
League
thing,
movie.
though. David makes a good point. It has to be Darkseid because the chapter is actually called Gods and Monsters. Oh, and thank you, Retro. We love you.
Thanks for coming
The
out.
question is, there are plenty of gods and monsters, and
Ooh, I got it. This is an idea for a fanfic that I had, but maybe they could do this. Justice League versus the Greek gods.
No.
It could work.
See, JJheat's on my side, Nick. Because if you want a team versus a team, because that would be epic. Plus, it would be good character development for Wonder Woman. How many chapters are there between chapters one? How many JLA films? I don't know. That's the thing, though, because there's so much. Mm-hmm.
I think what James Gunn is doing, he's trying to do like a mini Infinity Saga.
Yeah, kind of.
So like we're still gonna have. I think he's still gonna try and do storylines. Like a Phase 1 had a storyline. Phase 2 kind of had a little bit of storyline. So I think we're still gonna see NCAT films for chapters. So I think the first one is probably going to be rather small scale. I think it's going to be a character that leads into Darkseid. Because, like, Steppenwolf would have been that character.
But, yeah.
I
got it. It is Vandal Savage, but you find out he's actually in league with Darkseid. In other words, Vandal is the first... Let's say they end Chapter 1 with Justice League 1, and the villain is Vandal. Then he says, well, I was only the... I wasn't. Well, you still got to deal with my partner or something like that. He's like a god who conquers the multiverse. We see Darkseid.
It would be like courting death.
Mm-hmm. What about the center? I don't know if they really go with that. That's way too obscure.
The reason I wanted Vandal Savage is I wanted a character that you could weave in throughout these movies and have be like the mastermind setting everything up. Kind of like be the mastermind, the machinations. And have them be everywhere at once. Vandal Savage is that character.
I got the idea. Going off of Vandal Savage, remember that Justice League animated movie that came out that was Justice League Doom?
Tower of Babel, but wasn't it Ra's al Ghul in the original story?
No, but I'm saying do what the movie did and make it like a Vandal Savage, and then the plot is he's gonna like nuke Earth or something like that with the solar flare. And then, but I mean, they also have to deal with the subplot of Batman and his contingency plans because James Gunn is going to adapt Tower of Babel somehow.
That's a good Justice League too.
Here's the thing: what if they do Legion of Doom / Injustice League versus the Justice League?
Ooh, or Crime Syndicate.
Too soon for a multiverse story.
Yeah, that's too soon.
Okay. Soon. Yeah, the chapter title is reference to A New World of Gods and Monsters from The Bride of Frankenstein. Does that make reference to new gods? Maybe. I don't know. That's actually an interesting point. Well, if we got Damien, they could do Ra's al Ghul for the Tower of Babel. That's true, and that's a way to link it.
Let's take this literally. Let's take that title literally. Let's say Chapter 1 is about gods. Chapter 2 is about monsters.
But Chapter 1 is called Gods and Monsters. Chapter 1 is that title.
Okay, well, I was going to say, well, okay. Well, the theory that I'm about to do is debunked, but I want to say it anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
If the whole Chapter 1 and 2 is Gods and Monsters, that would mean Darkseid is Chapter 1, Doomsday would have been Chapter 2, because that would fill the monster role.
Okay, I agree with you, but I think they should give at least 10 years apart for Doomsday, which actually they already have.
DeCamera was only able to pull that off because they had to establish a great contrast between early DeCamera, where Clark was a jackass from New 52, and the more classical Clark Kent going into the latter half. So outside of that, go ahead, Nick.
Also, like, I feel like they can probably do, if they do Doomsday right, like give him the look and act, because like they barely, like, he didn't really look like Doomsday, didn't really act like that wasn't Doomsday, like that wasn't.
That was Zod's corpse.
So, like, I think there is room to actually do the Doomsday storyline. The only part where people might get familiar, like, oh, he dies, But I think they're actually, like, I think killing Superman at the end of Chapter 2, and then having Chapter 3, like, be death, like, the world without Superman.
The next movie is called Reign of Superman, and it stars 4 Supermen.
I mean,
Connor, Steel, Eradicator, and Cyborg Superman.
I think it could be done.
That could work. And you know what? They could legit, still do that, Nick. It's like it's not exactly debunked, and you know what? Honestly, I would dig that. That would be actually really cool to if Doomsday is like, well, why not
Like
adapt the Rot?
imagine if Darkseid basically creates Doomsday or something.
Because there are some continuities where he does that. And by the way, Tevia, that would be good for the Swamp Thing movie. But I see what you're going there. And maybe the big threat is the crime syndicate from the antimatter universe from Grant Morrison's graphic novel. We're tying with Lanterns. But see, here's the thing. It's a little too early to tie in the multiverse if we're doing like, okay, chapter 1 and chapter 2. I think that they would go with someone that's, I mean, even doing the New Gods is kind of pushing it a little bit.
Question. Do you think...
And they fought Superman.
Here's something that's like kind of crazy. What if in Swamp Thing they use that as a Poison Ivy origin? Like basically Pamela Isley is a character,
dude,
and she
that is excellent.
She becomes infected because like there have been storylines where Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy have been connected. What if she becomes infected with the green, but she becomes Poison Ivy as because of it? Like what if in Swamp Thing the villain is Poison Ivy?
That would be that would actually be really interesting in a way to really like turn it on his head, because you're like, oh, this is actually a Poison Ivy film. I could see that. That would be really
like
good.
Imagine Pamela Isley is like a scientist trying to study this whole thing, and then she becomes infected with like the Swamp Thing, and then like she becomes Poison Ivy.
As long as they don't try to shoehorn Harley Quinn in it, I'm down.
They would probably
this is a straight up horror movie where where you have the sexy Poison Ivy, but she's like the like, oh, you want to try some erotic asphyxiation, and then she strangles you with the vines.
And by the way, how great is it that the director for Swamp Thing is heavily hinted at being the director for Logan?
James Mangold has kind of like, I don't know, ever since his comments for Indiana Jones, I've lost a lot of respect for him. Like, he's a good director, but like the way he's been responding to fans about Indiana Jones, it kind of been turning me off.
Flash itself is a multiverse film.
Yeah,
you don't use the multiverse in the first chapter when you're building a foundation. Multiverse is a chapter 2 or chapter 3 plot.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying if they were to do Crisis, it would have to be chapter like what they could do is actually introduce like the idea of the Anti-Monitor in Lanterns, and then have the main threat be the Anti-Monitor, but they don't. In other words, they do a Thanos where they set him up for movies and movies and movies.
I mean,
and movies.
don't. You got to remember there are other characters like there's Pariah. Pariah can show up in some of these movies. And Harbinger, like Pariah and Harbinger, these two characters can.
The Monitor.
The Monitor as well, you know.
The question is, Superman. What if Superman likes to bring in the Legion? I think they would save it for a Legion movie, but I think he's just going to try and keep that movie.
I gotta be honest with you, it's more likely that you see the Legion show up in a Supergirl sequel.
And here's the thing, though: doesn't Superman find the Legion? Because here's the thing: this isn't Superman on the farm. This is early Superman in Metropolis. He would already have encountered the Legion. Maybe he'll refer to them later, but I don't think so.
Okay, here's my prediction: the Legion, the Legion, is gonna be the Supergirl sequel.
Okay,
basically, like you might see in a post-credit scene where like you have Lightning Lass, Saturn Girl, and whatnot actually come to Supergirl, and they take her to the year 3000, and basically, the second Supergirl movie is a Legion, kind of movie. Supergirl and the Supergirl Legion.
And MP makes actually a good point. A crisis is generally not a good thing. Comics only do crises when they need to fix the universe. And here's the thing. They would only do crisis at the end of their 10-year plan if the universe was not going to move on. And then James said the story's going to continue on after chapter 2. So, I mean, Despero could work.
Wouldn't be the first time Warner Brothers pushed the panic button.
What about, I mean, they've been pushing the panic button.
This is all assuming... This is all assuming that the Superman movie, Superman Legacy, does well, which I think it has potential to. But if it fails, I think they're going to change a lot of these plans.
I mean, this is assuming everything works. Let's be honest.
Because if it doesn't work, we see what happens. We've seen what happens. We've lived it. Look at the Flash. But
it's a Flashpoint movie. It is a Flashpoint.
It's a Flashpoint because. I mean, Flashpoint was not a crisis. A crisis is when the entire multiverse is going to collapse. That's why Death Metal should have been a freaking crisis. And when you look at actually the original 5G plans, it was called Death Metal Dark Crisis. So,
what about adapting Zero Hour? Because that was, remember, Zero Hour was lantern focused.
Crisis in Time?
No. Here's why they can't use 0 Hour because that we would have to have had Hal Jordan turn into Parallax at that point. And guess what? Parallax is, Hal is Hal in the Lantern show, as far as we know.
Destruction of Coast City during Reign of Superman. That could be a Chapter 2 story, but not Chapter 1.
I really wanted Justice League versus Legion of Doom. Yes, me too. Try to team up with the Joker, because if you put the Joker on a team, that's not going to turn into, and that's not going to work out well for Lex Luthor.
Also, here's another thing to note: they're not going to want too many Jokers running around. So if Matt Reeves does the Joker, I guarantee you they're not going to do it in the main continuity, and vice versa.
Not only that, Todd Phillips Joker too. So I get the feeling they're not going to do anything that the other universe is doing because they don't want to confuse people.
Like they're not going to have 3 Jokers running around. They don't want 2. They'll put up with it. They're not going to have.
And so a Joker embargo.
Yeah, exactly. And Tevia, yes, please. Lanterns could set up Sinestro and the Sinestro Corps, and then at some point we get a Sinestro Corps war movie. I could see that. That would be freaking dope.
What about I'm just throwing around names. What about Emerald Twilight?
It could be done.
Yeah, they could do that, but they still have to do at least the destruction of Cosetti. But Nick, I'm proud of you.
Do you think they'll introduce the other lanterns, like Star Sapphire?
Oh, absolutely. I know.
And
by the way, they confirm that other lanterns are going to show up in the Lantern show.
Does this mean I get my Lantern Kitty Dexter?
Yes.
It depends. Well, no. All we know is that we're going to see Green Lantern. Well, it is interesting though that it's called Lanterns and not Green Lanterns. So it could be actually you could get Dexter in an episode.
Guys, I should warn you: if I ever get a cat, I would be heavily tempted to name it Dexter
and paint him blue.
That's mean.
And by the way, we're not going to see. I don't think we're going to see Batman and Joker for a while because that's just too obvious. And there's so many Batman villains that let me this way. I want the DCU Batman villain, if it's not going to be Ra's al Ghul for the Brave and the Bold, to be maybe Mr. Freeze.
Oh, guys, how crazy would it be if I got a cat named Dexter, and then for Halloween I actually put it in a Red Lantern costume?
That'd be great. Yes. Realistically, the first chapter, Big Bad, is probably an iconic Justice League threat from a major storyline that narrows it down somewhat. So it could be Mongol. It could be it could be Darkseid. Let's face it. It could be Darkseid. It could be
Savage.
It could be Savage. Exactly. It could be
Lex Luthor.
Could be Lex. It could be Lex Luthor with the Legion of Doom. And you know what? Realistically, it could be Starro. Watch, if it is Starro, I guarantee you one of the posters for the movie is going to be all the actors recreating that cover from.
That is going to be the poster that I buy and hang on my wall.
Yeah. I will buy that 100%. I wonder if Reeves will make a third Batman movie. Could be. Maybe. It depends on how well 2 does, though, because if 2 bombs, I don't think they'll do another one, but realistically, let me put it this way. I was wrong when I said Batman 2 was not happening, so anything could happen at this point. Does this mean we will get a Blackest Night, and also we'll be getting the Milestone animated movie, or is that dead? Probably dead for right now. And Blackest Night in the future, that could legitimately, actually,
end of chapter 2.
I was about to say, JJheat.
Movie, please.
Yes, please. And by the way, watch. We'll find out the Ta-Nehisi Coates movie has been redone into an Icon movie. And by the way, Tevia,
fucking better. Sorry.
Realistically, the Blackest Night movie, Blackest Night could be the movie that ends chapter 2. Realistically, depending on how central the lanterns are, because it is interesting that they're introducing the main bad guy, the main threat, in lanterns. That's interesting to me, as a big fan of Green Lantern. I think it's going to be Tal. and Black Hand, just straight up copy Grant Morrison from The Brave and the Bold. Yeah,
I don't
probably.
know. I
That'd be
think Talia is a little bit too small scale for a
She
Justice
is.
League movie.
No. Read the comment. He means The Brave and the Bold movie.
Oh,
Yeah, because in the original
That's
story,
right.
it was just Talia and the Man-Bats.
In the animated movie, which was stupid as hell. I'm like, oh gosh, the
No,
Man-Bat
animated movie
ninjas.
was Deathstroke.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was Deathstroke. But yeah, they could probably roll with that, I would say. So we got some comments. Let me swoop away from the populate. And Dave says, I could see the Justice League fighting Starro in a montage during the film and recreate that cover. True, they could do that. If he's not the main bad guy, they probably will. If they establish that the Justice League has existed for a while, they'll just have like a bunch of different covers that recreate Justice League stuff. And in the Coates movie, I don't think it's going to happen. It'll quietly dissipate. Yeah, realistically, what will probably happen is that we'll never hear about it again, which they'll essentially snowflake and safe space it. What's your heat?
The best way to salvage that movie, best case scenario, is just to make
Icon.
it a multiple movie.
Steal.
They could turn this. In other words, use any of the
No, they do a Steel 2 starring Shaquille O'Neal.
I'm done.
Okay, hang on.
If they ever do
Where's the
Crisis
clip?
on Infinite Earths and they have Shaquille O'Neal in there as Steel, I'm gonna.
That's crossing the line.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, realistically, here's what's going to happen to the Ta-Nehisi Coates' Superman movie. That's realistically what's going to happen to that movie behind the scenes.
Do you think they'll ever bring back Barbara
Blue Beetle
Pennyworth?
does well.
No, I don't think
totally
they'll bring
see
back Barbara Pennyworth. What's up, Nick?
If Blue Beetle does well, I can totally see them greenlighting a Static Shock movie. It'll be their Black
absolutely.
Panther. Like that'll be their Black Panther.
Oh, and by the way, here's one movie I want to see in chapter 1 or 2. Can we get Blue and Gold, please, with Ted Cord?
That'll more likely be a miniseries.
Or a miniseries. It doesn't matter. I just want that comedy duo with Nathan Fillion playing Blue Beetle with Booster being played by Chris Pratt. That's what I want. The Scroat Superman movie isn't happening, and I'm not even convinced the Batman 2 will actually happen. Could be canceled or pushed back until people forget about it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. This is Warner Brothers Discovery we're talking about, and since they canceled Batgirl, no one can predict anything right about now.
I don't think they'd make such a big deal about pushing stuff into Elseworlds if they weren't planning on doing stuff outside the continuity. Because I think they've realized that there is money to be made in these like outside continuity, like with Joker. Mm-hmm. And having the Batman be a part of that just makes a lot of financial sense, and it opens up a lot of opportunities.
And that's why what's interesting...
Like,
real quick,
what's
interesting
is going to be Elseworlds. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I guarantee you. What's interesting is that in the same day, basically, that they made the announcement, you also had Peter Safran saying, yeah, we're going to pursue also maybe selling projects off to other streaming services if we think it fits more, because really what that is just spreading the DC audience. So what that shows to me is that maybe if the demand is there and Netflix comes talking, I don't know. It could happen. That's all I'm saying.
Let's have some real talk.
Mm-hmm.
If they do...
It's a big if.
Snyder comes to Netflix, it won't be live action. It will be animated.
Realistically, yeah.
Because it's a lot easier to get what they need done in animation. Plus, it's a lot easier to hire all those people to do voices. It's a lot easier to schedule it, a lot easier to get that done. And it makes it a lot more feasible to get all that done in animation.
Now, here's the thing.
You get all the main characters voicing it. Zack Snyder is at least producing it, directing it, supervising it. He has a hand. It's the best way to do it.
Now, here's the thing, though. That doesn't need... Okay, so by animation, they could still do like the Love, Death, and Robots, like hyper-realistic animation. It doesn't have to be like Invincible level animation, because if you look at Love, Death, and Robots, a lot of those look... I was surprised. I was like, I thought these were animated. So it could be realistic
even if
that style.
Even if they did it Invincible quality, it still would look pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, when we say animated, it doesn't mean like Superman's not going to look very much like Henry Cavill. They could still do it like and make it look really gorgeous and make it look almost like live action. And yeah, like
Because here's the thing,
Nick said,
Warner Brothers still has a very prolific animation department.
yeah,
That's the thing. Like Warner Brothers animation is still very much a thing. So it wouldn't be too hard to have them do a Snyder Cut film. Like you probably scale up their budget a little bit, like give them more budget than they usually do. But like Warner Brothers Animation could very well do a Snyder Justice League Part 2 and then release it on Netflix and then release it on video. That is very doable.
Yeah, it's very doable. Plus the fact, again, like Nick said, it's a lot easier to get people like Ben Affleck to come back for like a day and just read lines in
Henry Cavill.
In an air
Henry
conditioned
Cavill back easily.
Well, yeah, you get. It's a lot easier to get all of the actors back if you tell them you just have to stand in a booth for like a day and just read off these lines and you're done. It's in and out.
Plus, like let's say Henry's in London shooting something. It's like, hey, can you go to this voice studio in London and record the lines? It's just so much easier.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, JJheat?
I think he's asleep.
I think he's probably asleep. Yeah, it's fine. I'll mute him for right now. But yeah, 100%. That's very likely that could probably happen. Well, let me put it this way. Never say never. Realistically, let me put it this way. It could happen that they send it to Netflix and Netflix says, you know what, we'll do it live action and just back to back. But yes, but I'm just saying, let me put it this way. I would be fine either way if it's animated or like live action as long as it happens. Realistically, it'll happen for animation. But anyway, back to what we're talking about.
I only have one request.
Yeah.
Can we please make the suit not green or animated?
Yeah, exactly. I want to see Lady Shiva as a villain for the DCU Batman movie. She could be a side villain, I think, particularly if it's like involving Ra's al Ghul. That'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how Nightwing can cameo in the Batman movie. Bats calls Oracle really for info. Instead, Grayson answers and says, "Oh, hey, old man, we're trying to sleep. Don't tell Nick that because he and I are both more in favor of Starfire." But
rage.
That's a way to do it if they don't want to have him like in the costume. If they really just want to focus on Batman and Damian, it's a way they could do it.
I mean, that's one way to get Dick shirtless and show off his abs.
Yeah, and by the way, Lawrence, this is very true because have you noticed that when it pertains to DC, a lot of unrealistic stuff has happened, like the Snyder Cut and the canceling of Batgirl.
Yeah.
So again, like he says, literally, never say never because weirder stuff has happened. So anyway,
yeah.
And then so as far as Chapter 2, I definitely think we would. Even if Trinity is not the first like movie, I think we will get a Trinity movie at least in Chapter 2 at the latest. There's like no reason not to.
They do a Trinity movie, and it opens up with Batman and Wonder Woman making out,
and then Superman just throws them into a wall.
And now it's Batman v Superman 2. Congratulations, you just ruined the what
there you go. It could be animation, but I could also see Netflix invest it. Because here's the thing, Nick, particularly with Zack Snyder. And actually, Dave makes a good point. So I'm going to break this down. It could be live action. Yeah, that's fine. But I can also see them investing as a live action, high budget series because they're losing Stranger Things. Plus, they're giving Zack Snyder basically his own room in Netflix to do what you want. Literally,
yeah, I'm just trying to be like feasible. Like, what's the most realistic scenario?
I know, but what we're saying is, let's say it goes to, let's say somehow the stars align and it happens.
I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's unlikely.
Yeah. I agree with you. It's more likely to be live to be animation, but I'm just saying there is a path to it being animated.
It could happen. I will grant you that.
The Trinity or World's Finest with Robin. That'd be interesting. I'd be fine with that. I definitely want a Trinity movie, I think, though, because we've had Batman and Superman movies, BVS, but I want an actual movie that's just Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman solving a case or doing like a threat or something like that. Superman and Batman will never happen in the DCU. Wait. So you're saying a World's Finest movie won't ever happen?
I think that is very possible
That is very likely.
Because it's an inverse of Batman v Superman. Because I think that's what people want to see is them teaming up.
That's what people originally thought when the announcement happened at Comic-Con. We have the Superman logo, then they're doing World's Finest, and then it was like, oh.
To be fair, Batman v Superman did end with a World's Finest kind of team up. I mean, we did get that for 20 minutes.
Yeah, but and actually, David makes a good point when he says people love team ups. I think that now I would not do a lot of superheroes fighting other superheroes movies because I think that's just really it's a trope that's been played to the ground right now. I think just do a lot of team ups, have different heroes hang out.
World's Finest makes more sense in today's climate than Batman v Superman-esque kind of thing.
Yeah, and by the way, World's Finest versus Lex and the Joker. Let's go. That's actually a good idea. That'd be an interesting movie. Seeing Lex trying to work with the Joker, and then Justice League Apocalypse soon coming to Netflix. Yes, exactly. That'd be great. We've used people love seeing their favorite team up because what's more classic than Batman and Superman teaming up? I mean,
Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman teaming up.
No, but didn't they team up before there was even a DC universe? I'm gonna see if JJheat's back. But
I mean,
yeah, I'm pretty sure there
DC
was.
Universe. DC Universe. I don't know. I think they've always been DC. They've been DC as late as as early as the 30s and 40s.
But what I mean is that before there was this massive sprawling. I believe the first books to cross over in after Superman were Superman and Batman. I think.
I mean, to be fair, Human Torch and Submariner were crossing over as early as there were they actually in Timely Comics, the predecessor to Marvel, they were fighting back then.
And by the way, Lawrence, don't say never because they're doing very new 52-ian things. I'm just saying, dude. World's Finest has been golden age stuff, to be honest. Yeah, okay. 1952, Superman 76 was the first Batman and Superman team up meeting. Okay. I wonder.
1952, the mightiest team in the world.
Yeah. I wonder.
Pretty late, honestly. I thought it had been earlier.
It was interesting. I wonder what the plan is for Aquaman. Now, here's the interesting part. When James Gunn went over his plan for the next 4 movies, Aquaman apparently takes place after Flashpoint, resets, and then takes place and then goes into the new continuity. So I think Aquaman is in the new continuity.
Oh, you know what this does mean, right? It takes place post Flashpoint, where things can change. All of a sudden, Mira's played by a different actress.
Yeah, exactly. We could get Emilia Clarke as her, or I like the Mara they had in Smallville, or we could also get this.
I'm just saying that this is the perfect opportunity to get rid of Amber Heard.
Yeah, yes. And by the way, David, they did confirm that they're going to, in terms of Jason Momoa, they want to keep him as Aquaman. They've offered him the spot as Aquaman back, and they said, we'll see what happens. We'll see if Aquaman 2 performs well. And then MP says, I'm not seeing so much in New 52. No, because here's what we're saying. The very fact that you're completely rebooting with a significantly younger roster of heroes, in other words, Batman's younger, Superman's younger, that's pretty, and you're starting with Flashpoint. That is New 52 straight out, and the New 52 took a lot of inspirations from classic comics. Hang on, it took a lot of inspiration from classic comics. So that's what we're saying. New 52. And what's up, Nick?
Do you think they'll keep with Ezra after Flashpoint?
Ooh, depends on how good Flash does.
So, question: when the announcement, how much did they talk about Ezra versus Jason Momoa?
I do know the question came up, and they basically said that Ezra's seeking help and everything, and then once they are ready, we'll have a conversation with them about how to move forward.
So it's okay. I think that's corporate speak for we've already made our decision. Except the Flash movie's coming out, we don't want to tank it.
Yeah, it could be. And then, bro, And by the way, that's a fantastic Aquaman run. Oh, and Mera's a huge part. They need to recast her. Yeah, exactly. I agree.
The fact that they're being, like wishy-washy about it says a lot.
But they did say in the same area where they said like we offered Gal back her job, we offered Jason back his role. They did also mention Ezra. I think it's just really depending on how well the Flash does, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know, because like I don't think Ezra,
but realistically,
really Flash.
That's probably what it is. They need to do good, so that they can't say Ezra's as a human trash can. True, that's the opposite of what they need right now. Yeah, exactly. They really can't do that. So
I mean, imagine like the movie's over, post-credit scene. He's like, "Oh, there's no more changes left," and he wakes up and he looks into a mirror and he has a completely different face.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the post-credit scene. Like Flashpoint also affected him, and he's now a completely different person.
And who would you cast as Flash?
Did you really just ask me that?
Mm-hmm. Just go ahead and say it. It's fine.
Grant Gustin. I knew that was
my
coming.
mouse was hovering over that thing because I was setting you up. I'm like, I want to play this clip. Wait for it.
I was debating whether to say Dylan O'Brien just to like, you know.
No, dude. As soon as you said if he looks in the mirror and sees a different face, I immediately went to that clip because I knew eventually it was going to get to that. And by the way,
I thought about saying Dylan O'Brien just to mess with you.
I think their stealth aging Gal out of Wonder Woman, but not having Wonder Woman moving the slate. I don't know, because remember, that's not the whole slate, MP. That's the key thing there. Got to recast the entire Trinity for new continuity. Not necessarily. It really depends on what they want to do there. Will DCE, because here's the thing. Wonder Woman is like 5,000 years old. It doesn't matter. She's the one character where it doesn't matter how old she looks. Will DCU Flash be Barry or Wally? I could see Wally because the past time was Barry. I could see them doing a lot of things that are different.
Here's a fan theory. What if they pull a Crisis on Infinite Earth in terms of like the end of Flashpoint? Because you know how like the death of Flash?
Yeah.
What if they basically use that to kill the Flash and Flashpoint, and then they use that to have the lightning bolt hit either a new Barry Allen in a different multiverse or Wally West?
That could work.
Because remember, in Crisis on Infinite Earths, Barry became the lightning bolt that hit him.
Mm-hmm. Dave says Amber Heard is more notorious than Ezra Miller to the public. She's really hated. Most people just want to see Ezra Miller as an actor who did some crazy stuff. Yeah. And she's up in the air. Gunn made so many rumors by saying whether or not he's keeping anyone really. I mean, he said he offered them a job, and he actually did say we had conversations with Gal about her staying, and she said she wants to stay and do some more stuff with us. So I'm like, they're probably not getting rid of Gal.
And also, here's the other thing about Amber Heard. Even with all things equal, she already had one foot out the door even to begin with. Because, like, remember the trial? Walter Hamada said there was no chemistry between Amber Heard and Jason Momoa. Like, it was a miracle that they sacrificed it. They were already reducing her role in this movie. So, like, she already had her foot out the door. So recasting Amber Heard is a lot more likely than it is Ezra. Ezra is literally the star of the movie.
And he's playing multiple versions of himself, of themselves.
Mira is a bit character. They have a narrative reason to get rid of her. And it's one of those things where if they switch the actors, very few people would complain.
Yeah, particularly if they replaced with someone that was a better match for Mara, like Emilia Clarke. And I think after Flash, Gunn will be a lot more concrete. Yeah, he'll probably be at that point. Will be like, okay, so here's who's staying, here's who's leaving, and we're done with this.
I don't think he's going. But I don't for that TikTok where it's like on the set of Wonder Woman and like Emilia Clarke appears, you know.
Yeah, and I think that what the and again, I don't think he's going to get rid of what's this. I don't think he's going to get rid of Gal, because if you thought the Henry Cavill stuff was bad, you confirm because right now it looks like she's coming back. You all of a sudden say no, where she's not coming back. That is going to hurt your universe.
Oh, wait. Sorry, I'm kind of my head's still like. What if it's Emilia Clarke's doing a thing and Jason Momoa's there? It's like, oh, my queen, I have a crown for you.
Yeah.
You think they're doing a Game of Thrones bit. You think they're,
and then you see the trident in the background.
No, it's the Mira crown.
Oh, yeah.
And he literally crowns her as Mira.
Yeah, Gunn did state that that Superman Legacy is the true start. Yeah, he did say that, but he did mention that Blue Beetle and Aquaman lead into that and take place in the new continuity. He basically said that in the video.
Yeah. So there's going to be a soft launch and then a hard launch.
Yeah, really. I think that's why I think they haven't. Oh, well, here's the thing. If they're keeping Jason as Aquaman, it doesn't make sense to have Sophie Turner as Mera. She is good if they had a young Aquaman.
See, the reason you get Emilia Clarke is because you're guaranteed to have chemistry.
Yeah, with a Momoa.
Well, first and foremost, Emilia Clarke can play the role a lot better than Amber Heard. First and foremost.
Oh yeah.
And also, if you want to be absolutely sure there will be chemistry between the actors, because we know that Emilia Clarke and Jason Momoa have great chemistry, and oh my god, I'd love to see that movie, just like the chemistry between those characters.
Mm-hmm. But he also said Creature Commandos is the first new thing. Yeah, Creature Commandos is like, I was like, who? It's like that Star-Lord meme. Who? That's also really weird.
At the very least, we know Amber Heard is. I mean, I think she had like a most 20 minutes. Like, just remember, she's gonna be sidelined for most of this movie.
Just in the beginning, she's actually just in the beginning of the movie, from what I heard.
Yeah, like, I think it was like as low as 10 minutes. Then maybe you can cut her out completely. So like, there may even be a situation where Mira doesn't even show up at all.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. The one thing I think it's confirmed now, because if it's taking place in the new continuity, they're definitely not going to keep the footage they shot with Affleck. That's for sure. And
remember when that came out? Remember our streams?
Yeah, we did. And then we came on, and then the stream, we did not talk about that for like 2 hours. And by the way, okay, so here's the interesting thing. The director, I believe, for Midnight Suns, the Marvel game, came out and said, okay, that is a terrible idea to link in the games to the movies. That is not a good idea. And I got to say, this is the one part with Gunn that I think is a really stupid idea, is to try unless you unless you don't put any major plot points in the games, you're really going to screw the audience.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's almost
that
better.
Is a horrible idea.
What I could see is you do these games that are kind of like interquels, where they take place in the universe, and you can have these characters show up or starring the characters, but they're side stories, but they're not meant to be like plot drivers. That's really the only way you can make it work. Yeah, probably. And yes, Aquaman 2 will have cut footage from both Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck. They'll release a director's cut that has like they'll release 2 versions of the films on DVD, and they'll say, do you want the Affleck cut or the Keaton cut? And you can just pick one and watch it. Can I have both? You can't have both because they don't both show up in the movie. It's easy to just use characters and have the story be whatever. Yeah. Well, in my fan edit, they do. You can have a fan edit. That's fine. Into the Batverse. That would be cool. I would go for that. Into the Batfleck verse. But then it's just Batfleck. Yeah, but you can't have that. Then you can't have Michael Keaton. Yeah, I can. Okay, so sorry, I'm getting a little loopy. Yeah, we're almost done. So last topic I want to talk about is, so you guys remember we had Mikey Sutton on the channel, actually no, on Taladia's channel like a little while ago. It was talking about Dreamwalker. It's being turned into a live-action TV series. It's a legit live-action TV series, which I did not see that one coming. I'm like, that is really like,
That's significant for like a relatively small like IP to all of a sudden be escalated to like a big TV show.
To be fair, I imagine Mikey Sutton is pretty well connected, so him getting something like this off the ground is not too surprising.
Not too surprising, but the studio still has to like sign off on it and everything. So the very fact that they had faith in it gives me like a little bit more faith. But yeah, it was one of those things where I read it and I was like, that is very. First off, congrats, Mikey, if you're watching this somehow. Congrats on the good work. We look forward to seeing what Dreamwalker does. But that is fantastic.
I can just totally see you where like there's like a Screecher Netflix series going on. I get you a cameo, and I have to literally throw you like a zip up hoodie because you refuse to take off your Snyderverse t-shirt.
Yeah, probably.
Like you thought you'd be sneaky and like sneak in your Snyderverse t-shirt.
She's on the bus and she's reading a comic and she's reading an Athena comic with the Comics League logo on the back, and I'm like,
Jared,
wait a second there. What? I'm
going to declare this right now. Athena is a comic book in my universe.
That's fine. Can I do the same thing in Screecher?
Sure.
Absolutely. I would love.
You do know that's how DC and Marvel work. Like, yeah. Marvel is comic books in DC, and DC is comic books in Marvel.
Because what we can have like for a crossover, we can do like a really wacky thing, like a portal opens, but it's a portal to either comic universe.
By the way, I'm going to have it so that Avery grew up reading Thunder Princess. Like, that's like her childhood hero.
Her name is Athena, but yeah, 100%. That'd be such a fantastic. And yeah, Taladia is a character in Dreamwalker, so that's cool. But so actually, we've kind of talked about. Go ahead.
In issue 2, actually, there is the opening shot is like in a room, and it's like a time capsule from like 2012. I could totally put up an Athena poster on there.
That'd be interesting. I would like that.
We'll talk when we get to issue 2.
We'll figure that out. But before we log off, I just want to give you guys a little bit of some updates on like on Athena and stuff. And I just hit the halfway mark of editing. So once that's done, so Dawson's current project launch is like done and like shipping February 11th. From that point on, it's full steam ahead with Athena. It's gonna be volume 1 should be done by later this year, early next year at the latest. It depends on how like how many pages I make and stuff. But really, what I'm doing now is I got the basic idea down on the paper I have. This happens, this happens, this happens. Now I'm fleshing it out. In other words, instead of saying a princess walks in, I say she walks in with a worried look on her face as the area explodes around her. In other words, I'm painting a broader a picture for the artist. We can like really go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be super fun. And yes, so because I want to have, because the idea I had, Nick, was like in the unit, because it's gonna be a part. This is not really a spoiler. It's gonna be a part where like she's just, oh yeah, I am, and Nick is a professional comic writer, but I
may or may not be pulling some stuff to give you an exclusive.
And by the way, Dave, Nick is so connected that if you look back in the backlog of my channel, I got to talk to Chuck Dixon. So you can check that out. But anyway, but yeah, I'm going to have it where like Athena's walking down the street or something like that, and then someone's reading Screecher. Yeah. Yeah, and I'll be like, oh man, I love it. And there'll be like an Avery like poster on there, if that's okay with you. And that'll be really, really, really a creative way to do cross promotion, because I know Ethan Van Sciver does that in his Cyberfrog comics.
So I have something special to show off.
Ooh, okay.
You are getting the exclusive on this one, okay?
Ooh. Let us see. Ooh.
So this is literally the first public viewing of Turn Samurai issue 3. This is the first time I am showing it publicly, and I'm not going to be showing this. I'm not going to be posting this on Twitter.
Why, thank you, buddy.
Because these are really early. This is the halves. Basically, you got like your thumbnails, and then you got like yeah. So and then also,
don't worry, I'll show you exclusive stuff when I'm a little farther along in the like actual art.
This is also a little plot twisty, because this is a character that literally shows up in the last 2 pages of issue 3. Basically, these are kind of hench people of the
corporation.
Yep. Let's see if that works.
That works. That looks great.
Also, I don't know if you noticed the names of the characters.
Jaime and Jesse.
No, it's Jamie and Jesse.
Okay.
It's a reverse it and reverse the genders.
I don't know.
Let's just say they protect the world from devastation. And they try to unite all people within our nations. And they denounce the evil, the truth, and love. Okay, okay, I'm gonna stop right there because.
Oh wait, is this the Pokemon people, Team Rocket?
Yes.
Oh wow, dude! Wow.
It's Jamie. So basically, what I did, I flipped the genders.
Hang on.
So Jamie is like James, and then let's see here. Then you got Jesse. This one, if you ever played Final Fantasy VII, I actually based his design off of Tsung, the Turk. So yeah, these are kind of like hench people. These are gonna be like the trading card designs. I literally just got these today. Like literally like a few hours ago. These are like hot off the press.
Yay! Don't worry, I'll be giving some exclusives on next channels because the first process for my book that we're going to do as soon as it's done is get the character designs and basically looks right. Because Athena, I've shown the cover. It's pretty much her in like a princess dress, but she's going to have like all my characters are going to have actual armor as opposed to like spandex because I like the look of armor more on like, plus for the tone I'm going for, armor makes more sense. So we're going to design the armor, the color scheme, and basically hammer out the look of these characters and the feel. And if you like Zack Snyder's Justice League, you're going to like my book. So on that note, Nick, do you have anything where can everyone find you, and what do you have coming out in the Phoenix Press?
So, you can find me on Twitter at the Phoenix Press. You can find me on YouTube at the Phoenix Press. And then, so I got, right now I'm working on Turn Samurai Q3, as you saw. And then on YouTube, I got Avatar video coming out. And then, yeah. Also, before we go, someone wanted to say hi.
Hello, Drake.
No, this is Courage.
Oh, hello, Courage, the cowardly rat. I almost said the cowardly dog, and I was like, okay, that doesn't make any sense.
Yep. So Courage wanted to say hi. You know, he's like, prancing at the screen. So I just thought, get a little ratty before we go out.
Yeah. And then as for me, on Monday, I have a video coming out talking about like I'm still hammering out what my topic is going to be, but it's going to be more. I'm probably going to do a video talk about Swamp Thing because we're going to do a lot of content based on the books that the new DCU is going to be based off of. And in terms of Indie Wednesday, I'm going to be talking about either Sidekicked or the book Crossover by Donny Cates.
You need to cover Tonic Bowl. Like I think he's showing some interest in coming on the channel. Like you should like review his book and then like interview him and stuff. That's my suggestion.
Absolutely. And then tomorrow, obviously tomorrow we'll be recording Under Two Capes, or at least I will be tomorrow night, and then it'll be up probably Sunday. I have to release at that point because I got stuff going on in the morning and the afternoon, but that'll be coming out. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and hope you guys enjoyed theorizing with us. We will see you guys next week for more Comics League darkness as we explore whatever the hell James Gunn has in store for us. All right, true believers, Excelsior!